Let's take a look at problem number 40. And this is a rational equation, so let's refresh our memory on those steps. Step 1, factor all your denominators. Step 2, figure out the LCM of all your denominators, multiply everything by it. Step 3, then solve it. Your fractions are gone at that point, and you either have a linear equation or quadratic. You probably won't have an x to the third. That'd become a really difficult problem. If it's linear, then you first get rid of parentheses, and that's via the distributive property. Then you get rid of fractions, and you do that by multiplying everything by the LCM of all your denominators. And then you get everything with x on one side, numbers on the other side. I'm writing this in terms of x's, but you can have any variable. And then you divide both sides by the number in front of the x. Now, if it's quadratic, you get everything on one side, 0 on the other side, you factor it, and then you set each factor equal to 0 and solve. And then step 4, semi-check your answers. Basically, make sure it doesn't cause a 0 in denominator. So let's use these steps to solve this problem. So we got x over x squared minus 1 plus 1 over x minus 1 equals 1 over x plus 1. Step 1, factor all your denominators. Well, x minus 1 and x plus 1 we can't do anything with, but this is the difference of two squares. Two terms with a minus between it. Again, you try to write it as something squared minus something else squared. You look at each piece, asking yourself what times itself gives you that. For example, x squared, x times x gives you x squared. And 1 times 1 gives you that. So then you take what's inside your first set of parentheses, you add what's in your last. You take what's in your first, and you subtract what's in your last. And that's how it factors. So step 1, this factors as x over x plus 1 times x minus 1 plus 1 over x minus 1 equals 1 over x plus 1. Step 2, figure out the LCM of all your denominators and multiply everything by it. Well, to figure out our LCM, let's start with our first factor, x plus 1. Now we're looking for the greatest number of x plus 1s in any single denominator. There's 1 here, none here, 1 here. So the greatest number of x plus 1s in any single denominator is 1. Now I go to my next factor, the x minus 1. I'm looking for the greatest number of x minus 1s in any single denominator. There's 1 here, none here. So the greatest number of x minus 1s in any single denominator will be 1. The answer to that question is almost always 1. Problem becomes pretty hard when the answer is 2 or 3. So that's our LCM, and that's what we'll multiply everything by. So I'll multiply it times the first fraction. I'll multiply it times the second fraction. And I'll multiply it times the fraction on the right side. Now, when we do that, this cancels with this, the x plus 1s. The x minus 1 here cancels this x minus 1 here. In our second grouping, the x minus 1s cancel. And on the right side, our x plus 1s cancel. So let's see what we're left with. Left with an x here plus x plus 1 times 1, which is just x plus 1. And on the right side, x minus 1 times 1, which just leaves us with x minus 1. Now, what we're left with is a linear equation where we have x of first power. So we're going to follow these steps. Now, no matter where you are in math, if you can combine together like terms, you should. X plus x is 2x. So we got 2x plus 1 is equal to x minus 1. First step, it's solving a linear equation. Get rid of parentheses, don't have any. Get rid of fractions, don't have any. Get everything with an x on one side, numbers on the other side. So I'm going to take this x here and move it to the left side, and take the positive 1 and move it to the right side. Anytime you take anything across the equals, the sign changes. So we got 2x minus x equals negative 1 minus 1. Combine together like terms at any step. Like terms, same variable, same power. 2x minus 1x gives us 1x, or just x. And negative 1 gives us negative 2. This was, okay, that was, we'll label these correctly. That's step 2 there. And this would be step 3. Now step 4, semi-check your answer. Make sure it doesn't cause a 0 in the denominator. If I put negative 2 back up here, negative 2 squared is 4 minus 1, that's not 0. Negative 2, negative 1, that's not 0. Negative 2 plus 1, that's not 0. So this would be our answer. Negative 2, which is B as in Bill. So 40B. And that checks.